Hello, I'm Anthony Bott, still talking about the United Nations and what they have done and implemented into our society, which has a lot to do with what is occurring in the political status internationally through civil society groups. And civil society groups is something that people do not discuss, but we need to have discussions about civil society. And what civil society is, as defined by the dictionary, is a society considers, the civil society is a society considered as a community of citizens linked by common interests and collective activity. The United Nations definition of a civil society is the third sector of society, along with government and business. It comprises civil society organizations and non-governmental organizations. The UN recognizes the importance of partnering with civil society because it advances the organization's ideals and helps support its work. And then it goes to list several of the members of the websites for the civil society. And the civil society is us. Civil society and these organizations, I believe, are not the common people at all. And I consider myself a common person, and if you do not donate millions of dollars into our governmental organizations, or you do not work in our government, then I would consider you civil society. And this is a much bigger issue than whether or not you're a Republican or a Democrat, because truly they are messing with you through the Republican and Democratic Party, dividing us and making us fight over stuff that are nonsense. And these people in the civil society organizations are dealing with our morality, they're dealing with our souls, and they are dealing with our minds, and they are dealing with every aspect of our lives. And with these civil societies, a random one that I picked was the International Partnership for Human Rights. And this is an independent, non-government organization based in Brussels, working closely with civil rights groups from different countries to raise human rights concerns. And how they operate is they promote human rights worldwide, but it acts to empower local civil society groups who are working to advance the protection of human rights in the respective countries and assist them with raising human rights concerns at the international level. So it is a worldwide group that goes in and isolates itself into, or say they isolate themselves into, the local society groups. And with what I'm finding with the research, you go and look at their partners and you're unable to pull up information about their partners. I'm unable to find anything about the partners. I'll have to do more research and get off the internet, because a lot of the information I'm finding on the internet is very, very, very one-sided. And there are 2, maybe possibly 3 or 4 different opinions about issues. And with their promoting of the international rights, the people that are the directors and steers of this organizations is Bridget Dufour. And her past work experience is officer of the International Holistic Foundation for Human Rights, a governmental agency. Deputy Director of the International Helsinki Federation for Human Rights. Another government organization, Simon Papovich, and he is a lawyer that has been working for the human rights in Russia and Georgia, and he's also involved in the EU-Russia Civil Society Forum as a former board steering committee member. And a steering committee member is a person who writes and dictates what is told to the local groups to say. Well, they have their right to go along with that, but there's a lot of ins and outs with that, and I'll discuss those later. Another avenue that you have to look at with these people is where their donors or where their donations are coming from. And this is just bizarre, with their donors being listed as a straight edge life, has 3 X's on his website, and it's actually quite hilarious to go to at www.eidhr.eu/. And again, this is a donor that donates to the International Partnership for Human Rights. And on his website, it just lists random blogs, such as decompression session, gotta chill, I have strange relentless in me, sure I'm overdue on a few bills, I'm waiting for a paycheck. That always drives me nuts. And just goes on and on and on. And another one is where he's talking about becoming a photographer because he is a programmer. And another one is one entitled Racist Pig, who came up with anti-Asian comments with an anti-Semitic analogy, which made him furious. And you can go look it up, and also that it made him angry. He thought about hitting the person, but he is more mischievous than that, so he will cut his brake lines or something. Just kidding. And people get locked up for free speech nowadays, and somebody is threatening to cut the brake lines, but they're not serious. That's an action that will definitely harm a person. So I don't know, maybe words harm people more than they harm me, but anyway. Another organization that donates is SIDA, and that is a government agency working on behalf of the Swedish Parliament and government. These two people work together, but it's not associated with the government. And another person that donates is the National Endowment for Democracy. And one of the steering directors and the president of the National Endowment for Democracy, which is a private congressional supported grant-making institution. It's a totally no governmental, is Carl Grisham. His prior work involves being the senior counsel to the United States representative to the United Nations. And it goes on and on with him working with the United States to the UN Security Council. and also a mission to the UN. He led as consultant to the National Bipartisan Commission to Central America. And his high marks are also, he has received the Order of the Knight's Cross by the government of Poland. He is the distinguished person for advancing democracy in China. He is Romanian National Order of Faithful Service, the Order of Diplomatic Service Merit of the Republic of Korea, the Diplomacy Star of the Government of Lithuania, the Leadership in International Relations Reward of the Congressional Hispanic Leadership Institute. And the list goes on and on and on. And this person that is so highly awarded and highly decorated by governments worldwide is supposed to be talking on behalf of the third sector of our world, the common person, is a little ridiculous. And the other donor is the ever infamous Open Society Foundation. And I don't want to discuss the Open Society Foundation. You go look that information up, because I need to do more research and find more information to make sure that, because a lot of this stuff they will just spin off as, oh, he's just a conspiracy theorist. It's just a conspiracy theory that a person documented to have powerful relations with governments is representing the people, does not have a conflict of interest. I don't believe it. And the civil societies is ever launching. And a fun fact about civil society and the word's usage of civil society throughout history is that you can look, and of all the books you have 1500s, and there's a spike in civil society, and nobody talks about that crap. And then comes the 1600s, people talk about it, and in the early 1600s, oh, people stop talking about civil society and don't want to deal with it. And it happened in 1650. And in 1700s again, it drops off. And in the 1800s, it drops off like a rock. And then people talk about civil society and it drops off like a rock again. And there's a reason for that. History repeats itself. Civil society is not a good idea.